Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Off the Mark. I am your host, Miss Tootie O, and with me, as always, is my beautiful and most favoriteest co-host in the world, Miss Meeks Kali. Hello, darling.
Hello, my love. I missed you.
Oh, did you just do Melinda Gates impression right now?
It sounded spot on, right?
Yeah, I was like, Melinda, what? Where are you, ma'am? I swear to God, I thought she was here.
I assume it sounds and goes down in the Gates house.
Nailed it.
or in the ones. Too soon.
Too soon. A broken home now.
Yeah, broken home.
Huh? You're gonna squirt some? You're gonna cry? Huh? Yeah, see, you're gonna cry, huh? You're a big man now, huh? Yeah, thought so.
So we are in episode 33?
Something like that.
Is that the magic number? 33, 34? We lost count, and that's our own fault and our apologies. We have both been smashed, extremely busy, but extremely positive, as we mentioned in last cast. We do definitely miss you guys. We definitely miss being able to get back into the routine of being able to record twice a day for you guys and just keeping in touch with you guys. But we definitely still appreciate the fact that you guys are still with us. So thank you very much for that. Anyway, so on to the topic at hand. We're gonna go real Alex Jones on you guys on this episode, you guys. I swear to God, I'm warning you ahead of time. It's probably gonna happen. So we're doing
in your face,
all up in your faces.
Where's her reservation? Her reservation is that we live in a free country. We live in America. I call for everybody out there watching. The time for civil disobedience is here. I want this removed tonight. COVID-19 is a power grab hoax.
We're definitely the big elephant in the room right now, I suppose, is the Bill and Melinda Gates story. I'm sure there's other stories going about town. You know, there's more racism and there's more this and that and the other. Tons of mass shootings that have been happening as I've been reading up on them. So we can always discuss those things, but those things aren't as fun and roller coastery as the Bill and Melinda Gates rabbit hole that we're about to take you guys down. So yeah, as we all know, they was it 6 days ago, May 4th, May 5th, I believe they officially made it public and that they were going to file for divorce, Bill Gates and Miss Melinda Gates. It turns out that she actually wanted to file for divorce before COVID in October of 2019. So this has been in the works for a while. It's just been kept hush hush. And she obviously, as we have seen, has been by his side for the last year and change since this whole COVID thing had started. Yeah. So what do you think? What's going on here? Hey, let me ask you this. Let's start with this real quick. Let's get this one out of the way, Miss Kali. Is their divorce is their divorce related to the market potentially crashing and burning?
So here was my first thought when I heard about their divorce was, first of all, for them as potentially like normal human people, that's sad for them, like empathy. But it's so compassionate. But aside from that, we remember at the beginning of 2020 how all the CEOs were like jumping ship and leaving their companies and securing their assets. That's so right. That was my first deduction, was that it has to do with taxes. That they're like funneling off by allowing her to have some type of settlement, that he's protecting himself from some type of recourse, that they're able to like reappropriate their wealth, that one of them can take the hit and only have so much to give. And just like how, Bill Gates isn't allowed back in India. That's part of the reason why they're having this like second outbreak, is because he's, done vaccines in India before, and there was incredible damage to people from it. So they're not with that anymore, even though the rest of the world is like on that boat. So it's possible that they're anticipating that just in case, like things like Johnson & Johnson was having all those blood clots and stuff, that maybe if there's reactions extremely to the Moderna and Pfizer or whatever, or that, that they lose control in the COVID battle and it becomes not as much of an issue that they're portraying it to be, or whatever comes to pass, that he'll be able to be the fall guy, but still secure all his wealth, where he can go in like whatever type of prison someone of his level and clout would be in, and still essentially own all his stuff. Just like with Epstein's, land and accounts and stuff like that, that there was weird activity after he was dead, that there was like deductions and deposits and stuff, and like they added stuff but then cleared everything out, and that there was like construction on site of his place, the Epstein Island, that somebody's doing something there and somebody's controlling all that amassment, so it doesn't just like disappear. So I think that part of it could be like pre-positioning on that part, but also that I didn't realize it was specifically October 2019 that Melinda initially was filing. And if we recall, October 2019 was when Bill Gates was hosting Event 201, which was where all these world leaders and medical officials and stuff got to practice a potential global pandemic and what that would look like and what responses they would take if that were to take place, was the Event 201 that they had in October 2019. So for her to initially be pursuing divorce at that time, did she like foresee all this COVID stuff and was like, that's too much? I draw the line at COVID, at global COVID. I put up with enough, Bill, but I don't know. Good for her. Everybody, it has their own, like camel's back. So
right. That was the
Yeah.
straw, baby.
COVID.
Yeah,
COVID straw.
an entire global pandemic that did her in. That did her in.
So that could be, but also this whole like pandemic thing, she's been very on board and like was part of, I forget what official panel they had that spoke, where they had like a delegate from Israel and like, who's that young girl, the Greta Thunberg? Yeah, Greta Thunberg. Like her and Melinda
Thornburg,
Gates and like Thornberg or whatever. Well,
Thornberries.
Am I right? Essentially.
Right, yeah.
Kind
Kind of looks like the girl. Man.
Predictive programming. But like her, like Melinda Gates and all them, and the Gates Foundation, which she is still going to be a part of, and all those kinds of things have been a very like at the forefront and key player in all this COVID stuff too. So I don't think necessarily that it was COVID that she's like, I'm not with that, because she's been playing it out very, very to a T. So,
see, I remember when COVID first came around, and we started digging deep. Event 21 was one of the very first things that came up. It's so it seems so it's like you just dusted off a shelf and there was the book Event 201. Like it seems like that was so long ago. And and he obviously they were Event 201 was a preparation for what happened the very next year. But yeah, and you're right, as far as that being her the final straw, as it were. I agree. I don't think it had anything to do with that at all. I don't think it has anything to do with that at all. I think this is a play that both of them. This is a mutual decision,
right?
Financially,
right.
I don't know.
It's some type of power play to some degree. Like when you're at that level of echelons of people, like we cannot like fathom the type of wealth that the Gates folks have, so right. like you don't just walk out of that and like go back into the rest of the world. Like you guys are in a particular like private box, right. So there's still going to be interacting with each other are in that kind of scene. So I do think that they're like positioning themselves for whatever's to come, and that part of it is to be sensational of, you know, it's the new thing that's distracting us, so who knows what else is more so happening behind the scenes. But it has been calling attention a bit more to the Epstein case, because they've mentioned that in some reports that not only did Bill Gates have an affair where, like, I guess there was an old girlfriend that they had an arrangement that he could have a vacation with her or something once a year. And so that's kind of what they're pushing towards the forefront of the headlines, to be like the reason of she just couldn't take it anymore or whatever. So they always have to like propose an excuse of why a celebrity or high profile couple would be getting a divorce, so that it's not about the money. But yeah, so as that's been coming to the forefront, there's also been speculation about Bill Gates' relationship with Epstein, how Bill Gates is on his flight logs. There's pictures of them together at, you know, parties and events and stuff like that. And their relationship began, you know, decade or whatever, like many years ago. So that's been like an aspect of their marriage and relationship for a long time as well. And my presumption thus far, as we've known Bill Gates to be among like Epstein's circle, that Melinda must have been like in that too, because there's, you know, men and women are part of those parties and whatever.
Right.
And that a lot of their spouses, like John Legend and Chrissy Teigen, are, you know, that they're in it together or whatever. So I just assumed that she was supportive of or involved in that type of lifestyle, you know, abuse,
Right.
perversion with him. And that, but who knows, like, if that's, they're saying that maybe that was another thing that she just couldn't handle, but who knows how much of it, like even their marriage could have been an arranged marriage, because who knows who her family was before, you know, meeting him. And especially with Gates' father being one of the founders of Planned Parenthood, and, you know, having so much of a background in eugenics,
Right.
eugenics, yeah. That they wouldn't pick just anybody to be Bill Gates' wife.
Right. Exactly. And again, yeah, it's a calculated divorce. You know, there's no doubt about it. There's no, you know, the whole thing on TV of they have a love, they've been in a loveless marriage, and yeah, the whole thing with the ex-girlfriend thing, and how he claims that all he does is he paints while he's there with her, and they just spend the weekend together. And, you know, it's like, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, that's none of our business. You know, what's more important than any of that is what's not being recognized. And that, you know, if this is your first time out, you know, out of your rock, Jeffrey Epstein was a man who was convicted of prostitution, child trafficking. He was a pedophile. He had connections to a lot of people in politics. He had connections to a lot of celebrities, a lot of people, basically anybody who had money and who can afford to hang out with him, afforded a disgusting lifestyle with that. And that, you know, there was tons of pedophilia and probably worse. You know, without getting into too much detail, I guess. He amongst all of these connections, he mysteriously killed himself, died in August 2019, just months after he was taken into custody. His partner
There's a lot of like
literally Ghislaine Maxwell was recently also arrested. So she's been gone for almost a year after Epstein was put away and killed. She kind of disappeared. She dipped out for a while. And then when she reappeared, she ended up in jail. She's only been in there a few months now. So this for Ghislaine Maxwell is fairly new. Epstein apparently is old news. Amongst his death being a mystery, there was others, people who had information in regards to celebrities and people of that nature and their lifestyle. Isaac Cappy being another one. So
right. When did he die? It was in May of 2019 or 2018?
May of 2019.
19. Okay, yeah. So
yes,
it was right
ma'am.
before Epstein. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. May of 2019. and he died in Arizona. So there was a lot of, there's a lot of, and whether they're directly related or not, I can't say they are, but you can't really deny that they aren't either. Did Jeffrey Epstein know Isaac Cappy? No. Do they have the same connections and the same people and know the same people that did the same things? I would imagine, yeah. You know what I mean? And they're not the only ones. There's several other people that we can name off. I think Avicii is another one. Who was another one? The Linkin Park singer was another one these were people who made claims of having information of knowing certain people in certain industries, be they celebrities or not, are actually taking action and actually practicing these evil acts against children and watching these and or know people that are complicit and just watching. You know, so there's a long line of people who have passed away mysteriously and or committed suicide, or there's just a lot of mysterious deaths. Should have your eyebrow raised, because and most of the time 80% of those deaths have a connection. And it's again, I told you we were going to go Alex Jones on you guys with this one, and it's so, you know, here we are. Here we are. What do you think? What do you think the pattern is? We mentioned, or remember you mentioned that girl the other day, Rivera. I forgot her name, and I apologize.
Naya Rivera.
There we go.
Yeah, I just saw a Mother's Day thing about her. They were bringing her back up in the headlines.
No kidding. What did they say?
Just that her son's father was like honoring her or recognizing her in a post, like saying what a wonderful mother she was and stuff like that. But his post was being like then like pushed on all access to in all these different platforms, you know, to bring her back into the spotlight. So that was interesting, and that she was one of the people that was left out of being recognized in the Oscars. So that's interesting that they were like kind of circulating her image now, maybe even that's so make odd. Up for that.
Yeah, it's just maybe there was a little bit of backlash because of it. Who knows? But she was a Disney Disney employee, right? She was hired by Disney through Disney.
Does Disney do Glee?
I don't know. I think so.
Were they Fox or ABC? I don't remember.
No, they're Fox. I think
they're Fox. Okay.
Fox. Yeah.
But Disney owns Fox now?
No. I don't know. I thought she started off with Disney though.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I think she did.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I could be way wrong. I figure all those kids start off at Disney.
Yeah, I know, right?
But you know, it's just the events surrounding her death. You know, she drowned, or it was something about her being in the middle of a boat with her kid, and you know, it's just
she had the Natalie Wood treatment.
Exactly, the Natalie Wood treatment. There's way too many questions and very little answers, and the same goes for Jeffrey Epstein, and the same goes for Isaac Cappy, and the same goes for Anthony Bourdain, and the same goes for what is his name? Shelton, damn it, Linkin Park singer. I forgot. I know, his name.
I can't remember either. But yeah, the four guys that you had mentioned were putting together a documentary. That was called like, I forget, like Silent something. I'm so foggy now. But yeah, and each of those that were involved in the documentary have died since, you know.
Right. And have all publicly came out and have said that they've had experiences, unfortunately, you know, unfortunate sexual experiences when they were children. Dang, I wish I could remember his name because now I feel bad. But yeah, he was. I think he was one of the frontmen for that documentary. And yeah, it's kind of a shame. Bringing it back to Bill and Melinda Gates. So Epstein dies August 2019. She files for divorce October 2019. Now there was a story circulating recently that said that suggested that she was that his connection to Jeffrey Epstein was absolutely 100% part of the reason why she's divorcing him. Which makes sense only for the simple fact that after just a handful of months after Epstein died, she goes off and files for divorce after such and such a year, amount of years after he's had this friendship with Epstein for, such and such amount of years. And it's just like all of a sudden, boom, he dies. And now, I guess I'm going to divorce you now. So, she's had opportunities to divorce him years before that.
Right.
So, you know, whether
like why
whether there's
after, but maybe that's when the water got hot, because maybe it was the conditions of Epstein's death. And Chester Bennington, by the way, was the name of the
Chester Bennington. There we go. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sorry. And so with Epstein, not only did he die in prison under like high security surveillance, but both of the security guards were like, I forgot, unavailable at the time. The camera footage got, you know, destroyed or something somehow, or was unavailable.
Yeah, the camera
at the time.
for those 15 minutes, the cameras didn't work. Like,
right. And like, there's all this like very questionable circumstance surrounding his death. So soon as it happened, of course, the hashtag Epstein didn't kill himself started trending, and because yeah, we ain't blind, and there was a sense of scurrying amongst the like Hollywood circles. And if you watch kind of like their interviews at the time and their appearances and the headlines and stuff, you could tell that there was like movement and panic. There was a lot of memes that like show a clip of The Office when like they thought the building was on fire and everybody's, you know, like going crazy. But yeah, a lot of people were implicated by him getting caught, and there was question as to whether how much he was going to confess and rat out to. And, you know, for again, people that aren't familiar with the storyline, or, you know, there's the documentaries of it, Filthy Rich, I think it's called, but they only go so deep in it. But he had some very high profile clientele, like, you know, top lists of Hollywood or royalty, like Prince Andrew or the Clintons and all those kinds of folks. So a lot of those people would have been implicated should he have, you know, confessed to all that there was evidence to that he was involved in, and all that these people were involved in. So his suicide was very convenient for a whole lot of very wealthy people, including Bill Gates. And so perhaps part of that was, you know, like sent a message to a lot of people, of anyone who was starting to have a conscience about it. Because like you're mentioning, there's a lot of celebrities who, you know, either speak out or kind of allude to it in their art work or whatever, you know, or in their interviews, or kind of hint to it, or Elijah Wood, or, you know, there's been or what's the Corey Feldman, a lot of people, yeah, have like tried to blow the whistle on Hollywood and how it's an epidemic.
Rose McGowan, I think,
Rose McGowan,
most recently,
yeah, even Brad Pitt's made comments, even though I imagine with him being married to Angelina Jolie, that Johnny Depp has made comments. They've said that
Mel Gibson has
that Hollywood literally lives or runs on the blood of children, and with no like hyperbole to that, you know, like, and no allegory, like literally.
Yeah, he was like, no, I'm serious.
No, like,
he's like, no, you guys, I'm serious.
Like, yeah. No alliteration. So, you know, it's almost unfathomable what our minds can even perceive of what the echelons of people, once you reach certain wealth, of how they entertain themselves or whatever. And like there's moments in cinema or literature where people of power try to play the most dangerous game or the most dangerous sport, where they hunt a human, you know, and that's one of the most exciting things, that has to go toe to toe with, you know, a creature of that's almost your equal, except for that they don't have the upper hand of your wealth and power, you know. So that this is a perversion, or like a sickness that humanity has in it, that is plaguing some people. And you know, like some people are brought to the light and have to like experience the consequence of their sins, where, you know, people like Epstein got caught, Ghislaine or Glenn, or however you pronounce it, Maxwell, got caught. She's in custody, and she was initially arrested, I believe, in July 2020. So that was a whole year after Epstein's death, that, you know, she was well known to be his partner. And not only were they romantically involved for a number of years, but also that they just worked together still at the time of him being caught. So it was known that she should have been involved. And so her laying low for that long of time, you know, was questionable. It was evident that like media and inspectors or whatever weren't probing or digging too deep if she was able to hide out. And then when they did finally catch her in July 2020, it turned out that she was like on a private estate in New Jersey where, you know, she wasn't even like Osama in a cave or nothing. Like,
she was right.
She was in America, right?
She was like 2 blocks away from the fucking precinct and shit.
Right.
Like she was just like,
you know, like the property was in her name and everything. Like it would have taken
wow,
zero investigation to find her.
Right.
But, you know, but finally they did. So they needed something to, you know, and this was after all the George Floyd riots and stuff. So they needed something to catch the headlines for July, I guess, last year. And she was basically it. And that's what all the conspiracy folks and channels, I guess, and Q folk at the time got to focus and deliberate on. But anyways, since then,
trust the plan. Trust the plan.
Trust the plan. It's happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
Storms are coming.
Come on.
Here we go.
Nice.
And so, right. And remember how it felt back then that there was such a big deal, her getting caught. We're like, okay, this is it. You guys buckle up.
This is
This
it.
is it.
We did.
Bill
This is it, you guys.
Clinton.
Yeah, we did.
Suit up in that orange.
Right? We were all waiting for Tom Hanks to be next. We were all waiting for that. We were like, yep, here goes Alan. I swear to God, sit. Yep. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget that. That's so funny.
And you know, there was just real quick, there was like a lot of questionable things back then, even of, again, just like after Epstein, of celebrities doing, and again, it was COVID. So it was under the guise of like, we're all doing Zoom and on our social media more because this is how we're connecting now.
Right.
Like everybody. But they did a lot of like weird, you know, videos and challenges and interviews with each other and bits. And there was like the J-Lo picture with the person, you know, in the background that people were or
the baby. There's a baby or something in the background.
Yeah, like a young person. And then David Spade did a video where he was like writing a letter and it said like, talk to us, Hanks, or talk to us, Tom, something like that, after Tom had disappeared and gotten COVID, right?
Right.
So they were like, there's a lot of speculation about that, about a lot of the celebrities that were getting COVID in the beginning, that was
Howie
code
Mandel.
for, that was code for them actually getting caught in these circles. And a lot of them had photographs surfacing, like Oprah and Ellen, of having perceived like ankle monitors or something on them. There was the pictures of Tom Hanks and his wife where it had like that barcode on above on the doorway, where it's like, where the hell are you guys that it would have that, you know?
We're just at home.
He's normal.
We're just at our house.
Or like they had that picture of his wife too, where she had like the background was a beach and stuff, but then in her sunglasses you could see her living room and like the carpet and coffee table and stuff. It's like, you guys are bad at this. or
Creeps.
Doing it on purposely bad. I don't know anymore where they're at with it, but yeah, like there was and there was even starting to be some, because they had like some of the court documents got released a couple months later after her arrest, and they mentioned Bill Clinton, that he was getting foot massages by 2 13-year-olds on one occasion, even though his name was in the flight log, like what, I forget, 36 times or
several,
some absurd
quite
number.
a bit.
But even after that, you know, there was no repercussions, and he's been able to go on to do all these vaccine promotion commercials and, you know, help Biden with his campaign all the following months and all of that kind of stuff. So it's wild what's all going on potentially behind the scenes, and that they even did bring her. So it had been quiet about Ghislaine Maxwell, I guess, since the fall, after those like first couple of reports and stuff. And then finally they released a picture of her, right? Where they've mentioned that she's been denied bail and she's waiting for her court date, I think July 14th, coming up in 2021. So she's still got a couple months, and she's requested bail for 28.5, I forget if it was million or $1 billion. That's a big difference. I should have the correct one.
I'm going to say it's million, but either way, she was denied. Like, she was denied bail.
Right, 3 times, because they consider her to be a high flight risk, and million, and high flight risk, and so she's even offered to pay for guards to watch her and everything, but you know, it's too suspicious. So I'm glad that she's, as far as we know, still in custody, and they've released like court sketch drawings of her first appearance before the judge, where she denied charges that she'd abused, or
So she's not talking, I'm guessing. Oh, let me ask you this. The picture that just came out of her recently, I think it was released via TMZ. I don't know, who knows, but that's where I saw it
right,
first.
right, one of those.
Where she has the bruise under her eye.
And it looked like she's like behind, like in between the bars and stuff.
Right? Like
poking out. I'm not happy about this.
I'm quite uncomfortable. The bruising, ritualistic, or did she get her ass beat?
Right. Okay. Because there is a thing about, like people know that in prison, that a lot of people that are convicted pedophiles and stuff do get, their ass beat in prison or killed or whatever,
or killed, right?
Yeah. So they get their comeuppance beyond what the court gave them when they go to jail. So that's certainly like a dynamic and an error that could be there. So it's quite possible that she was, but her bruising was suspicious. It almost looked like either makeup, or it looked very reminiscent of similar bruising that we've seen under the eyes of like Stephen Colbert and Prince Andrew and all of the Pope, and the very suspicious, very deep discoloration that's in just a very specific concentrated area.
Patton Oswalt, Ellen DeGeneres,
right?
Chrissy Teigen, I believe, has had a bruise.
There's like memes where it has, like just their faces all tiled, and you can see celebrity after celebrity, and then there's
Lady
like, who's
Gaga,
punching them?
Right? Exactly. Who's punching them?
It reminds me of that Bob's Burgers episode where Linda and her high school band, like their reunion, and then the kids have a babysitter, and one of them gets punched, so they decide the only solution is for them to all get punched, and then they show up the reunion, they're like, who knows what happened? Well, we all have black eyes, who's to blame?
That sounds right.
So that's how it feels like. Right. What's going on in Hollywood? They're a little fight club or something.
That might be a Bob's Burgers what's it called, predictive programming episode.
Oh yeah.
Who knows? Huh?
Yeah,
that'd be kind of cool.
Well, the show's like initial pilot is about cannibalism. So
that's right. You're right about that. It is.
Yeah, they're saying there's stuff there.
You're right. I forgot about that.
But
that show's great though. That's very funny. It's one of my favorites.
It's one of my favorites. It's a good show.
So yeah,
you should watch it.
One of my favorites.
It's on
Bob's
Sundays.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Right? Only on Fox.
I can't
God. We don't even get paid for this.
We're gonna get this video totally sponsored. I can tell.
Yes.
Good content.
Yes.
But they've her attorney, David Oscar Marcus, I think, has said that she's been under very poor conditions, so that supposedly even beyond like just other inmates, potentially having altercations with her, or that the security and just in general that they've been depriving her or giving her a little bit poorer treatment. And they've said that her food has had mold on it and all that kind of stuff, and that she's forced to have only certain yard hours, or I don't know what it is. But,
oh no.
They're like trying to say that but the facility has said that she's getting the same treatment as everyone else, and that there's nothing particularly targeting her. But yeah, it was an interesting play having that type of shot release when initially there was a lot of criticism that there wasn't a mugshot of her.
Right. For a long time.
So for them to show this like random black eye photo.
Right. And she's in distress and her hair is messed up and she's sad. And yeah, exactly. There's definitely something going on with that one for sure.
Don't take my picture right now, please.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I said no.
She pulled an AOC.
Right.
She definitely pulled one of those. Now here's my thing about this particular little bruise stunt that she pulled. We'll see what happens in court. Let's put it that way. She's clearly she's not talking. And if she had any intention under it, she'd be dead already. Or she is dead and this person isn't her.
Right, that's possible.
but yeah, we'll see what happens. You know, maybe she did she finally bent the knee completely, and she did what she had to do, and she got dotted in the eye the way they all do, and we'll see what happens next with that. Maybe she'll go free for all we know.
Yeah.
Right? Like, who knows? But it's just an interesting thing, an interesting picture to put out.
Turns out she's innocent. We looked into it, and
right. Oh, our bad.
Sorry.
Because listen, every single one of those people who have those bruises, be they celebrities, politicians, the Pope, as we mentioned, they have no real reason to go out in public with them, and they do it anyway.
Right, exactly. And like, they could afford the makeup. They know the people, like, they're usually it's on set. What, like, you know, cover that up.
Exactly.
You know?
So this is definitely this is a public display of ridicule, which is part of their satanic rituals. And again, whether she took the took the oath with these folks, so to speak, or not, is not mine to speculate. Except I'm gonna goddamn speculate, because it just seems like there's a pattern with every single one of these. Again, they don't have to go out in public with these bruises.
Right.
Right here, same bruise. You can look it up. Every single one of these people named, and then from those names, other names will pop up and other bruises will pop up. And that's really all you kind of have to see. All these people are getting beat up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, around the same time. Like, come on. Oh, I fell. Oh, a book fell on me. Oh, this is not, like, whatever the excuses are. Oh, this happened on set. And most of the time when it's celebrities, it's on set. Something that happened on set. So, it's coincidence.
A microphone dropped and
not.
just whacked me right here.
Right there. Exactly. You know what I mean? So,
me too. I totally can relate.
I've walked into the door so many times. You know what I mean? Right. I get it, fella. So yeah, it's crazy. It's insane. It really is. So we'll see what happens with this poor Ghislaine Maxwell and her bruise on her face. One more thing. Okay, let's.
Oh, I do want to say real quick on
yes,
that though too. Is that another thing that occurred was the Elon Musk appearance on SNL. And if you watched it, even like from the get with his monologue, he walks out doing his the Masonic downward triangle hand symbol. And then as he's gesturing on certain words, of course, he does the 666 on both hands thing, just over and over again.
Hey, can we watch it real quick?
Ooh, okay.
If you can pull it up. If not, no big deal.
Yeah.
Because I have the controversies behind it are, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I paused.
Okay.
Run now.
The controversies behind it, the Elon Musk SNL thing, where basically the cast was protesting, they didn't want to work with him because he was going to host. I don't know what he says. Well, what is he saying that they don't want to host with him?
Well, I think
it's transphobic
just,
like everybody else, or
I think it's because his stance this whole year with the COVID thing was he didn't want us to lock down. He was mad at California and Newsom that he couldn't have his factories open in the same capacity and ways, so he moved to Texas.
Right.
And he moved to Texas. He said the masks were dumb. He said he was on it with the Dogecoin and the GameStop and all that kind of stuff. So in the entire episode, they just go through bit by bit and pick apart, making him apologize for everything. So there's a skit where they're cowboys and he's trying to give good advice because he's the smart one, and that's the gag about it. And then one of the characters says, well, he doesn't always have the best idea. Remember when we robbed the bank and he said we shouldn't wear masks? And he's like, oh, well, I guess, in hindsight, masks were a good idea. But yeah, it was one of those where they made him apologize, kind of when Dr. Phil and Dr. Drew and all those people were saying that the lockdowns were too much, and then they all had to go through their apology appearances and be actually, you know what, Dr. Fauci does know more than me.
Wow. I see. I didn't know that any of that stuff happened, to be honest, with Dr. Phil and all them. But I'm not surprised. And this thing with Elon, see, I thought it was much worse. People have said much worse. Here we go.
But yeah, okay. So data mode. Here he is.
Mm,
So right as he starts speaking.
right. Yeah.
And that's his main pose for it. And then he loosens up. But remember how when they had that that first elderly lady in England, I think, with the red hair and stuff, that got the very first COVID vaccine, and how she was in her wheelchair with her little
Yes.
doing
and
the
she
same
was-
exact
yeah,
hand symbol,
yeah.
you know? So
And he does it 3 times. His hands meet 3 times.
yeah. So
Wow.
and then more of that. And then he they do a whole Mother's Day bit, and he does several things about Dogecoin. And then when they have the weekend update, he says how it's a scam at the end. So there's just a lot of things. But yeah, they're playing it off as that he's been offensive this year, but he made up for it on SNL.
Oh, good for him, I guess. But
I know, right?
Wow.
But it's just his sign that he switched sides. So maybe he was trying
Right.
to he thought he was bigger than whatever Bill Gates and COVID was, and he thought that he shouldn't have to bend a knee to it. But whatever their overlord that's taking over this new wave that, they say that anyone who enters the new age shall take the mark of the beast, whoever the leader of that is, they made him bend his knee to on SNL. And
I wonder
who knows if Ghislaine Maxwell with the black eye, like you're saying, it's her version of that as well.
Right. Exactly. That was my first thought when I saw that thing. Yeah. That's crazy. The only other thing that well, not the only other thing, but I wanted to bring up the border crisis. We mentioned
Right.
it before several times, and it, those were pretty heavy ass subjects. Where do you see where's the connection here? We have seen, especially recently, upwards from 10 to 30 to 40 to 20 people in one household, several households,
Mhm.
and these owners getting arrested trafficking these migrant people. A lot of them are definitely children. A lot of them are, most of them, I think, in these cases are adults, but there are children that are being smuggled into this country
Mhm.
currently now, that are just being left to die, that are just being abandoned, and or worse. Do you think there is a connection between this border crisis, the child and human trafficking that's happening currently, just the floods of people coming in, and the Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein and Bill Gates thing? Do you think all of these things have some sort of connection where, okay, yes, she's arrested. Oh, so we're going to tighten up the faucet there when it comes to sex and child trafficking. Oh, we're saving the day. And yet here comes these flood of people,
Right.
also on the news, just being blasted on the news that it's actually children for the most part being brought in. It seems like it's a figure 8 to me.
Right. I know it's wild because just with the numbers, we're seeing so many headlines now of them catching these houses. Like you said, I think I saw one that even said 90 people in a house that they found that, of course, were
Good God.
they deducted to be part of human trafficking. And, it's there. If you look back on the numbers throughout Trump's presidency, that was when the majority of trafficking rings were being caught and closed down and being, brought to justice and stuff. So more than any other presidency in recent years. And as we've seen, the last 4 presidents have all been involved in the same Clinton type Epstein circles. So, for Trump to have that record, and he was one of the, main presidents that you heard talking about human trafficking and making certain bills to send more aid and funding towards rehabilitation for, rescued victims and things like that, and investing more into that. And then that Ghislaine Maxwell just so happened to be caught under his, towards the tail end of his presidency, and Epstein, that both of those out of any of the years, because this has been going on for decades, like Obama, any of these previous presidents could have, tapped into this, and they didn't. They focused on BLM and trans rights and stuff, So Trump made so much progress. And then after Ghislaine Maxwell was caught, he got a lot of backlash because when the press asked him what he thought about it, he said that he wished her well. And there has been footage too of Trump and Epstein, and that he had, gone to those parties and spoken highly of him during interviews and said that, oh, I think he likes women just as much as I do, and usually they're on the younger side. That didn't. So, Trump, like Cappy, probably didn't have clean hands. I'd be surprised if there was any like innocence there, but that it didn't go further than that once it did. So who knows what kind of like part the election played with intersecting that, and then that the border crisis has like spawned up so much since after the inauguration, and that suddenly once there was all this attention to the border and to what's happening to take care for these children, and where are they coming from, and where are they going, and why are they being moved to other facilities when, and what are those other facilities, and how is that being tracked and regulated, and, the conditions that they're put under as they're being like processed and transported between all these places. That it seems interwoven and connected, that ultimately like human trafficking is one of the utmost industries out of anything. Like, if you sell drugs, somebody consumes it once and they're done, and then you have to make a new product. But humans, unfortunately, like they could potentially be used multiple times and be abused multiple times, and, be transacted in such a way for multiple years, and, until, and so it's an element that are just like they're trying to have, white people focus on their privilege and the upper hand that they have and those kinds of things. Like, we have to realize as a humanity, like that it's a global issue, global concern. Like that's kind of the real pandemic, is that there's human trafficking happening to such an absurdly large, like devastating degree. And that in some ways, like are just like we're reliant on the dollar. I think in some ways our civilization is reliant on human trafficking in a very disturbing way, and that it's going to take a lot of like challenge and transition to get off of that, and that we haven't yet. Like, it's been millennia and humans haven't figured out how to not traffic humans yet. And you would think that we had, and it's nice that just like how you can keep children in a nice little Disneyland type bubble of like everything's nice and pretty, and look over here. It's nice that there can be this like bubble of ignorant bliss for the human psyche to not be aware of such depravity.
I was just going to say why we have not figured out how to stop human trafficking is because we haven't had a movie to tell us how to stop human trafficking.
Right.
We've had movies tell us how to stop an asteroid, and we've had movies tell us how to stop a zombie apocalypse.
Right.
And we've had movies tell us how to prepare for certain events and tsunamis and earthquakes and things of that nature. We haven't had a movie, not one, with the exception of Pinocchio, I think, offer us any availability as to even hinting to human trafficking being something that's real. We see it in movies like Amistad as far as slavery is concerned, and things like that. Right. But we don't make the connection that, hey, that's happening here, it's happening now, it's happening today, and it's happening to children. It's just not on TV. And because it's not on TV, it's not something we're never going to be able to convey it. We're never going to be able to wrap it around our heads that doesn't exist. There's no way. These people don't drink blood. These people don't eat children. It's literally come out of the mouths of certain people who actually have had experience with this. And they're not, like you said, it's not hyperbole. They're not exaggerating by any means.
The Rock jokes about it so much. It's so uncomfortable when you realize that.
So does Chrissy Teigen.
Yeah.
She's disgusting. Why she's even famous, I don't know. She was a model for like 5 seconds. And then she married John Legend. And now she is what she is. And then, she was on Twitter. And then she became a disgusting pervert and was called out for it. So she left Twitter. Then she went back to Twitter. And then her kid died. So she left Twitter. And then she went back to Twitter. And now she's off Twitter again. You know what I mean? It's like she has this I guess this idea that people care that much, I guess, for one. And two, again, no clue why she's famous, aside from the fact that she's paid her dues. And some, she won't, I don't know. There's things we can say about the passing of her son, and how, we've mentioned it before in past casts, and how there was just oddities when it came to that whole unfortunate miscarriage. But the event itself is extremely sad. Being that it happened to the person that it happened to makes you want to raise an eyebrow to it, which is also sad, but it is what it is. So we just listen.
If it even happened at all, because of all the oddities about it. So like our point of that isn't to be like unempathetic, that like we don't care about miscarriages because like she's rich or says this, like obviously that's like not where we're coming from. Like if there was a real loss of that nature, then that's devastating, and our hearts go out to whoever that person is. But yes, of course, when it's like her of all people saying the things that she says, given the circumstance of it, it does make you raise a question. And since you can't know which one it is exactly, and like maybe you can investigate and follow that rabbit hole and like get to the bottom of it from looking at the pictures and noticing the name on her medical bracelet and all these kind of odd things, and why is she having a photographer right at the moment of her,
what the fuck?
What, like, it's black and white photos. Let me send this to everybody, share this moment. Why? Who knows? So like, who knows whether it was real or not? There's enough reason to question it. And the point is just to center yourself in realizing there's a whole world of fiction out there, and we can't like stir ourselves up into a frenzy and like emotional attachment to it, where like a lot of people heard that story and it triggered them of remembering their own, miscarriages. And then they're having to go through this emotional process with them and with like society at large, and the whole Me Too and things like that. So it's like, if you're gonna bring these things to the forefront, like they don't toy with the human psyche of our culture, like they're doing these headlines, the mass shooting, like people have had instances of gun violence and are very sensitive to that. People have had instances of like really like premeditated, like directed racism, and have like triggers and reflexes from that. And what we're doing is allowing for the headlines to kind of pull us this way and that, and tug at our heartstrings and decide our action for us like little puppets, because of how we're responding to these triggers that they're traumatizing us with. And so we just really have to get centered in our truth of like, what we can control in the world around us, and how we can, be sovereign in that. And not that we don't help our fellow man and every person that we come into contact. How can we be of service there, but we can't let the headlines and the news reports and all of that, because we just don't know.
Right, exactly.
Fortunately.
Exactly. And people are catching on little by little. CNN's viewership is dropping. There's definitely a lack of integrity when it comes to journalism, and the viewing public does see all of that, and they are starting to see, we are starting to see political theater at its best. Right. Joe Biden vaccinated, full coverage, blah, 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 the works, still wears a mask while doing a Zoom call for no fucking reason. And yet takes pictures and does photo ops with, people that are even much older than him. I don't even know how the hell he found those ancients, but no mask, no nothing, just up close. It's like, dude, make up your mind. Let's make up our mind as to what we're going to do here. So people are starting to see it, and it's starting to be laughable now, which is good. On the other side of that, I still see double masks, and I still see masks in vehicles with the windows up. And I little by little am starting to not cooperate with the mask thing anymore, especially because we're open. I'm going to go, especially like if it's at an eatery, I'll walk in with it. Second I lay down my money, I'm sitting at the stupid table because according to science, once you sit at the table, COVID disappears.
Oh no! Cheers! That's my only weakness.
Right? Exactly, right? Cheers! Oh no, food! I don't know.
Can't stand the smell.
I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it's just the mask doesn't go back on after that. Like, I think I got yelled at the other day, ma'am, you have to put your mask back on. I'm like, dude, I'm walking out.
Right.
We're done. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that person doesn't have their mask on like 2 feet from me. What's the difference?
In the house. It's so stupid. It's the stupidest thing, I swear. But
science.
Right? And thankfully, little by little, people are starting to be like, this is getting so dumb now, especially those who have gotten their vaccine. And anybody watching, if you received your vaccine, I would love to get some information as to how you felt, how you feel, especially how you feel in here. That's probably most important to me right now. Physical, the standard is, oh, my arm hurt and I had the chills for a few days, and that's standard for any vaccination you get. So that's no big deal. But I'm curious as to what and if it does anything to us mentally, and maybe we won't know for a few months. I don't know, but just throwing it out there. If anybody has any different type of a different approach to the way they do life now after receiving the vaccine, just anything. If anything has changed after you got your shot, I would like to know about it. Just curious is all. So yeah, I'm just throwing that out there.
And anyone anticipating like that they're about to go get their vaccine, like maybe it'd be interesting to like keep a journal, like just kind of make notes of your thoughts and preferences and like what you're interested in and stuff, or bothered by beforehand, and then through each dose and beyond, and kind of see where your intentions are set, what's kind of where you pull your strength and solutions from, and all those kinds of things. It's interesting.
Right. I like it. I like that. I'm going to do that before I get my vaccine.
Right.
Just kidding. I'm not.
And who knows? Maybe they feel like more, I don't know, maybe vaccinated people feel that more confident in the world around them. Who knows? That'd be interesting to hear too.
I'm just saying, I'm very curious. That's all. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm just curious. So before we wrap it up, I do want to bring it all the way back to Bill and Melinda Gates.
Ooh. And
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Is Melinda Gates Kevin Kline?
Here's the thing. So for y'all to know, if you follow the Q stuff, or have her or some of the circles,
if you've ever trusted the plan,
you ever trusted the plan? You ever been in this together?
Right.
If you're ever gone all.
if we go one, we go all. That's what it is.
That's how it goes.
I actually like that one. I really do like that one.
That
one's kind of sick. Stupid Q. Go ahead.
Catchphrases. But so we've talked about on past costs. I got an accident just then. Before too. About clones and the like, and that you can't always take at face value. There's potentially body doubles for several people in Hollywood, and who knows who you're seeing at any given moment. Like there's some telltale signs of like when you get your mugshot, right? They have a front on picture of your face, and then they do a side shot. And it's not just to see your profile, it's so that they can see your ear, because an ear is like a fingerprint that only you have it. And so just little things like that, sometimes you'll notice that people of influence, sometimes their ears are different. Why? That's not like a prosthetic thing of like they're wearing a different wig that day. They're like, oh, I'd like it if my curve went down a little bit here. Or what if my earlobe was attached instead of, dangling just for once, just for today. And we're already accustomed to them having like body doubles for like, if they're trying to get out of a theater, and like misdirect the paparazzi of like, oh, he got in that car and no, we're following the wrong one. Like we already know there's stuff like that. We know there's body doubles as far as like when they do twin movies and you have to like be a stand-in for me because I'm talking to myself, or body doubles where like they're stunt double, you know, like there's a million times where somebody or, you know, impersonators and all those kinds of things on in front of the, you know, Roman Chinese theater or whatever. So like we're accustomed to the idea of there being like multiples of people, and even people will make jokes about it of how like Katy Perry and Zooey Deschanel and the other one and the other one and the other one
all look alike, right?
all look alike, you know. And then sometimes TMZ or one of those channels will come out with a story of like, guess who's cousins? And we're like, no shit, you know, like they're the same, they're clearly related.
Right.
Probably sired all from the same, you know, donor. I don't know. So
clones.
Right. Or clones, quite potentially. Some say that Justin Bieber and Miley Cyrus are clones. Who knows? Who knows? I'm not that attached to it. I'm not going to sit like bet money or, you know, like, dictate my life by it. But I'm also not going to be like, poor Melinda, I should send her flowers right now.
Right. Yeah.
You know, first of all, I don't have her address. And she's like, who the hell's Meeks?
She can afford her own flowers.
She can afford her own flowers.
Come on.
Come on. So first off, and we highly recommend everyone does send themselves flowers because you deserve it.
That's beautiful.
Right? Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
No, just kidding. But is she Kevin Kline? Here's the thing. If you do a side-by-side of Bill and Melinda Gates from, say, like 4 or 5 years ago, and then the couple of them today, now about, it's very peculiar, and they both look extremely different beyond just what you would imagine to be general aging.
You're not listening, man. Oh, crikey.
Especially in Melinda, where there's some like different structural aspects of her like cheeks and bones and jawline and stuff like that. That's like, And I've seen images side by side of Kevin Kline or Kevin Kline's mannerisms and stuff. And sometimes when you watch, and then they played a video of Melinda Gates in one of her recent interviews where she like had the upside down cross even as she was talking about
that's right,
the safety of the vaccine. And it kind of seemed like Kevin Kline doing a Miss Doubtfire version of Melinda Gates, I'll be honest. When you look at the footage, I don't know, try your own conclusions.
Right, let me show you, baby. That ain't no woman. It's a man.
Right. And again,
where has Kevin Kline been lately? I will ask you.
Also that. Where Kevin Kline is, Melinda Gates is not. And where Melinda Gates is, Kevin Kline is nowhere to be seen. I'm saying.
Two and two together, people.
And Melinda Gates
does them in a room together lately since COVID.
Not ever. Not
once.
Not ever. Not once. Actually, yeah. You're right. You're right. But seriously, her voice and her voice has changed. Like she kind of sounds like Martha Stewart ate Kermit the Frog. So like it's quite deep. And like I don't know why.
The COVID connection.
Right? Nice. That was good.
The maskers, the vaxxers, and me.
Oh boss.
Sorry. She can't take me anywhere.
That was nice. We should do that. Let's play that one at the end. It's such a good one. Why are there? Such a good song. Yeah, I see it. She definitely. I kind of wish we had been able to pull it up, but she definitely has. I know, she has Kevin Kline's face.
Here.
His,
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
She has his nose.
Wait.
I was like, what is she doing?
Wait. I was going to ask the exact same question. Wait. No, sorry. Go ahead.
She does. Yes. Go ahead. No, you. No, yes. No, you. What? Yes. Yeah. She just has. She's peculiar looking, and it's not because she's gotten older. You know, people don't age to different faces that way.
Right.
She just looks completely different. There's nothing feminine about her face, and absolutely everything. Bill's more feminine than she is.
Right.
Now.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry, baby. You're right to be suspicious.
You know, nowadays.
Kind of
so it's they definitely did the switch. Has Bill Gates ever had the black eye? You know?
I'm sure. I haven't seen a specific picture. I realized I put it on a disk drive, so I'd have to pause and everything to pull it up. Maybe I can insert it. We'll see. I'll try that.
Oh, okay. Well, either way, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
I'll
it.
figure it out. Maybe. Otherwise,
Yeah,
do your
so-
research.
Do your own damn research.
On earth did you hit that woman?
Right, let me show you, baby.
But yeah, so that's it. They're Bill and Melinda Gates getting divorced. Prepare for just prepare for a couple more CEOs maybe jumping ship before things really collapse. That because that's a huge one for me. I think the Gil Bates divorce is definitely one that many of the higher ups are looking at with their eyebrows raised right now and
Right.
wondering what their next move is going to be. As of today, May 12th, the Dow, S&P, all of those, they're down by a significant amount of points, 5+. So, this divorce is when it actually does happen, it has the potential to hit things even harder when it comes to the economy and to the market, which again is due to collapse within the next 2 years. So take with that what you will.
Oh, also, Bill Gates is one of the primary or largest owners of farmland in the U.S.
Oh, that's right.
So, like, he's not just a tech guy and a vaccine medical guy for reasons. I don't know how he got there, but he's also looking ahead of he's invested in artificial meats. I forget if it was Beyond Meat or if he had another
Ew.
one like that, So even their like push for veganism and all these artificial, like concoction type foods. And, the most significant part is the land. That's where the power comes from. So if they're, they're wise investments for him to own
Right.
farmland. And if America were to come to a place where we couldn't import, export, which, just like we've had several times through the passage of COVID, of like the shelves being empty. And there was the cyber attack on that pipeline recently. So there's the gas shortage on the East Coast right now. So we have, seen, and then Texas's incident, and then the GameStop. So like there's been a lot of like, it's not for nothing that we're saying, be vigilant, be prepared. Like there's a lot of trumpets like sounding off, that there's a lot of red flags waving, saying that like, pay attention to this, like get ready, because these things are fragile and people are tearing at it. They're, targeting it.
Right.
And,
it's not forever. Exactly. There's a reason why the GameStop thing happened. There's a reason why Dogecoin is what it is and where it's at. There's a reason why Elon Musk did SNL the other day. All of these things are coming into play. These are all just a giant commercial to get you to put all of your future, all of your money, all of your finances into this one idea that these things are going to be forever. These things are the future. If anything, that'd be something that I'd want to pull away from completely. Again, it's really tough to say to feel that way, because big tech runs the world right now. And one thing I liked about I don't even know why I'm going to bring him up, but one thing I liked about Andrew Yang when he was running for president is that he was very adamant about trying to put a stop to what they're basically doing now, in regards to how the industries are taking over other industries and leaving people out of work.
Right.
So it's just it's like, again, it's all full circle. It's all one big figure 8, and it all comes back to us. It really does. It really all comes back to us. Whether, to me personally, losing money is for me, it's not the end of the world. So if we're poor and we're out on the street and we have to do what we got to do to survive, and it's Mad Max time, so be it. But for some people, that's a big deal. Losing their finances, losing everything that they own, not having money, that's a big deal in fact, it's a big deal for a lot of people. So, just invest wisely. Again, stay vigilant, keep your eyes peeled, keep yourself focused, and keep your finances in line, so that you and your family just always constantly having an answer and having a plan B, without having to rely on digital. I can't express that enough. There are definitely other resources out there, and we should actually do a cast where we could talk about alternative monies and alternative ways to,
Right.
you know, to basically save, even when it comes to water and things of that nature. We talk about it often, and we do mention them, you know, every so often, ideas and methods and things we can do. But you know, we should probably like really lay it on thick and try to focus on a cast that does that specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, this divorce, big fucking deal in the financial world,
Mhm.
and probably going to be even bigger once it actually happens. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what
We'll see
happens
what
in
happens
July
with
with
this.
Ghislaine and
Right, we'll see what happens with her, right, her court. You said July 14th it was
yeah, I
our
think
next
July
court date.
14th. Mhm.
So we'll keep you guys updated on that for sure. Again, we'll keep you guys updated on the border crisis. And my town alone, in the city of Long Beach, we do have a confirmed 1,000 children, and the Long Beach Convention Center living there right now. People are donating toys, clothes, anything that they can possibly. Transparency so far has been a must for the city of Long Beach. Although I personally haven't seen anything inside the facility outside of the one time that they showed us in the beginning. So if anybody's interested, I'll give you guys an update on that. But yeah, this child trafficking thing is happening in my own town, and it's sad to hear. And thank God most of the city was absolutely against it. So again, whether we agree on everything or not is irrelevant. We agree on some things, and that's what matters. So yeah, stay vigilant, stay focused. Melinda Gates is Kevin Kline, and I don't know what else to say. You got anything to add, my dear?
No, we'll be back with you all. Love
Yes,
you guys.
as soon as possible, we'll be back with you guys. And thank you guys for joining me at work. That was fun.
Yeah.
In case you guys haven't noticed,
Yeah.
yay.
We'll
So
take you on
thank
tour.
guys, stay vigilant. Yeah, next time.
It's like,
Tour next time. Yeah.
bring your cast viewers to work day.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.